After exploring the religious and political life of Arabia, we now step into something even closer, the lives of ordinary people. Not kings, not empires, but homes, markets, tents, tribes, and the quiet struggles behind them. And what we find is not a simple picture. It is a world of sharp contrasts, light and darkness living side by side. A society capable of extraordinary generosity and heartbreaking cruelty. A people who could protect honor with blood, yet sometimes bury innocence beneath sand. Social life, a world of contrasts. Arabian society was not one single layer. It was a social medley, different strata, different realities. Among the nobility, a woman could hold a respected place. She could enjoy a measure of choice. Her decision might even be enforced. And she was so cherished that men would spill blood to defend her honor. In many cases, she was the key that could ignite war or restore peace. Yet even here, the system remained patriarchal. Marriage contracts rested in the hands of the woman's guardian, and his word was rarely questioned. So even when a woman was honored, her freedom still lived under a ceiling. And beneath that noble layer, there existed another world, a darker world. One where indecency and exploitation operated openly. A narration from Aisha radiallahu anha describes 4 types of relationships in pre-Islamic Arabia. One resembled normal marriage. A guardian agreed to a marriage after a dowry, but other forms were disturbing. In one, a husband would send his wife to another man so she might conceive, then take her back. In another, a small group of men would share one woman. If she gave birth, she would choose one of them to claim the child, and he could not refuse. And in the fourth, prostitution was public. Women placed flags at their doors inviting men in. If a child was born, a seer would assign the father. When Islam came, the Prophet ﷺ canceled all such forms, leaving only lawful marriage. Even in war, women often accompanied men, and in the aftermath, the victors sometimes violated dignity, and the children born from such circumstances carried shame for life. Marriage itself had no fixed limits in that era. A man could marry without restriction. He could marry 2 sisters at once. He could even marry certain women from his father's household after divorce or death. Divorce, too, remained largely in the hands of men. Adultery spread widely, with only a few resisting due to personal dignity. Free women generally lived safer lives than enslaved women, and the condition of female slaves was one of the greatest tragedies of that society. A striking example appears in a report. A man once admitted before the Prophet ﷺ that a child was his from a pre-Islamic relationship. The Prophet ﷺ responded with a principle. Islam does not reopen the past, and a child is attributed to the household in which he is born, and adultery carries its own punishment. Children, love, and unthinkable fear. When it came to children, Arabia again showed contradiction. Some parents cherished their children deeply, but others buried their daughters alive, sometimes from fear of poverty, sometimes from fear of shame. A father would look at his newborn daughter and feel society's cruelty whisper in his ear, and instead of defending her, he would silence her forever. But it is important to understand, infanticide was not universal, partly because tribes needed sons for protection. Still, even one buried child is a wound on the soul of history. Tribal pride, the fire that never slept. One of the deepest forces in Arabian life was tribal loyalty. The Bedouin heart was tightly bound to clan and blood. Tribal pride was not a detail, it was an identity. It formed the idea that unity is built by blood, not by law. And their famous motto captured it: support your brother, whether he is an oppressor or oppressed. They meant it literally. They would defend their own even when wrong. Islam later corrected this meaning, teaching that helping an oppressor means stopping him from oppression. But before Islam, loyalty without justice became gasoline for endless conflict. And so, rivalry for leadership, even among cousins, led to bitter wars. Aus and Khazraj, Abs and Dhubyan, Bekr and Taghlib. Wars that lasted years, sometimes generations. Intertribal relationships were fragile, constantly threatened by revenge. Yet even in that harshness, something restrained them at times. The sacred months, Muharram, Rajab, Dhul Qa'dah and Dhul Hijjah, when fighting was traditionally suspended. And in those months, markets and gatherings flourished. People could travel, trade, earn a living, breathe. Brief islands of peace inside a sea of hostility. A summary of the social condition. In many ways, pre-Islamic Arabia was groping in darkness, entangled in superstitions, driven by pride and pulled into needless wars. In some places, women were treated like commodities, like property that could be traded. Tribal relationships remained unstable, and many leaders pursued wealth, power, and war as if peace itself was weakness. Economic life, survival on the edge. The economy matched the social atmosphere. Trade was the most common way to survive, but trade required two things: safe caravan routes and peaceful coexistence, and both were often missing, except during the sacred months. Arabia had famous seasonal markets like Ukaz and others where people traded, negotiated, and even competed in poetry. Industry was not deeply rooted in Arabian life. Many crafts like tanning and weaving were brought by people from Yemen, Hira, or Syrian borders. Inside Arabia, there was some farming and stock breeding, and women often spun yarn, but war threatened everything. Overall, poverty and hunger were common. Clothing was often insufficient. Life was hard. And when life is hard, people become sharper, tougher, sometimes crueler. Ethics, the unexpected beauty in a harsh land. And yet, here comes the surprising truth. Despite widespread evils, the Arabs also carried powerful virtues. Virtues so strong that even their poetry overflowed with them. Number 1, hospitality. They competed in generosity like it was honor itself. A hungry guest could be fed with the host's last meal, and many would rather face hardship than be remembered as stingy. Some even paid heavy blood money just to stop bloodshed, just to be known as peacemakers. Number 2, wine and gambling connected to generosity. Wine drinking was often tied to social pride and hospitality, and gambling, surprisingly, was sometimes connected to charity, distributing winnings among the poor. The Quran later acknowledged there were benefits, but declared the harm greater than the good. Number 3, keeping promises. For an Arab, making a promise was like taking debt. They would endure loss, even death, rather than be branded as breakers of covenant. Number 4, honor and rejection of injustice. They had intense self-respect. Even a small insult could spark revolt. This courage often became chaos, but it also meant they were not easily humiliated. Number 5, determination. They pursued honor relentlessly, sometimes at the cost of their lives. Number 6, forbearance. Though they admired patience and mildness, their fast anger and hard life often made these qualities rare. Number 7, truthfulness of the desert life. Their simple Bedouin life, far from urban deception, helped preserve honesty and directness. Why these qualities mattered? These virtues, alongside Arabia's strategic location, were among the reasons this people were chosen to carry a message that would reach the world. Yes, their traits needed purification. Some values were misused. Some strengths were dangerous without guidance. But Islam did not erase their virtues. It refined them. It redirected courage towards justice, loyalty towards truth, generosity towards worship, determination towards reform. And among the most valuable qualities were keeping promises, self-respect, strong determination. Because these are the traits needed to confront corruption and build a society of justice. So, when we look at pre-Islamic Arabia, we see a land that was not purely evil and not purely noble. It was human, conflicted, powerful, wounded. A people with strong hearts, but without the light to guide them. And that is why, when revelation finally came, it did not fall on empty land. It fell on a land already burning with potential, waiting to be transformed.